Welcome back to Sweet Nightmare, the book podcast by moi, Christine. I'm a 25-year-old stay-at-home mom who's doing this as a hobby. I know I said in the last episode that I'm going to be grouping chapter 5 and 6 together, but that was my mistake. This is just going to be a chapter 5. It was supposed to be chapter 6 and 7 together. Well, welcome back to my show. It's Christine here. We're reading the book Sweet Nightmares by Tracy Wolff. At one point of this show, after the reading, I will be stating my own opinions. So if you don't care about my opinions, you could just skip ahead to the next episode. Or you could listen in. That would be pretty cool. I'd like to say thank you for those people who have started to listen to me now. And when I first put it out, the podcast. It's kind of amazing on how someone else out there is actually listening to me. Even though there's not many of you, it's still something which I'm kind of amazed about. If you guys can check out my YouTube channel, it's called Chris the Book Podcast. And it's of a picture of a girl surrounded by books. A brunette, like me. But anyways, that picture was AI generated. I thought it was pretty cool, so I went with it. I haven't fully figured out how to use Patreon fully, so I am going to start a GoFundMe. If anyone wants to send any donations, you don't have to. You can just listen to this podcast. Just listening, honestly, makes me actually really happy. Seeing, the number go up by 1 and seeing that it's someone else from a different country. Like so far, I see from the United States and from Russia. So honestly, that is amazing. Someone even in Russia is listening to me. Once when I create the GoFundMe, the proceeds are going to go towards better gear, contests, stuff like that. But my first goal, short-term goal, is to buy a microphone from Amazon. Because at the moment, I'm just using my phone for these podcasts. And then my long-term goal of this podcast is when you search up book podcasts or best book podcasts, I'll be on one of the first pages. That would be truly amazing for it to happen. I'm a 25-year-old stay-at-home mom who's trying to do podcasts for a hobby. I love reading, and I thought I'd share my love with you guys. Well, let's get into this. Let's do chapter 5. Chapter 5. Better late than Calder. Miss Egler continues pairing people up until everyone has a partner, completely oblivious to the fact that she's just blown my shit straight up. The bell finally rings less than a minute later. You're on the right path for you. Stay the course. Geez, Aunt Claudia. On the nose much? The rest of the class heads for the door, but I hang back. Once everyone has cleared out, I head towards Miss Angler, who is watching me expectantly. No need to thank me, Clementine, she says with a conspiratorial grin. Huh? I asked, bewildered. For pairing you up with Jude. I could tell there's something going on between you two. There is nothing going on between me and Jude. Oh, come on now. You don't have to hide it. I do have a poet's soul after all. I'm not hiding anything. Jude and I have a very strong mutual dislike for each other. Or at least that's the vibe he's been throwing my way since he ditched me with no warning and absolutely no explanation. Oh. She looks startled. Well, then maybe you could use this time to mend fences. Mend fences? There's no mending fences with Jude Abernathy Lee. How can there be when he obliterated the fence the entire plot of land that was built a long time ago? Actually, I was hoping I could swap partners. Swap partners? Her eyes go wide, and she bats her naturally sparkled eyelashes like the idea of changing out of her assigned groups has never occurred to her. Oh, I don't think that's a very good idea, do you? I absolutely do. I give her my most winning smile, or at least I try to. But judging the way she rears back, I'm certain the day's trauma has turned into a frightening grimace. That's why I brought it up. Yes, well, I can't very well swap your partner around, Clementine. If I do that, then everyone will expect a change as well. And if I don't do it for them, then I'll be accused of favoritism towards the headmaster's daughter. And I can't afford that. I just got here. No one has to know. I assigned the groups in front of the whole class. Everyone will know. She shakes her head. You'll just have to make the best of it. And maybe you'll find out the two of you have more in common than you think. Now get to class. You'll be late. She pivots to her computer and let me know the conversation is over. I give her a half-hearted goodbye and slink, defeated, out of the classroom. I make it to my last class of the day, anger management with Dance in the Dick. Just as the affirmation bell rings, I spend a miserable hour listening to him explaining to us how much we suck and how we'll never amount to anything if we don't get our powers under control. I'm tempted to ask how anyone can be expected to learn how to control the magic if the school locks down every student's powers from the second they land on this damn island to the second the graduation boat leaves. But I don't have a fight in me today. After class, I race for the stairs. This afternoon is Calder Conclave, and showing up in anything but a dress uniform is completely unacceptable. Only being late is worse. Well, that and missing it completely. But I'm pretty sure you have to be dead for that to happen. Although, I'm not certain that would stop my mother from requiring my attendance. Thunder booms overhead as I book it towards the dorms, but the rain that has been threatening all day still doesn't fall. That only makes the heat and humidity worse. September in Texas is just another word for hell. By the time I reach the huge fence that separates the classroom buildings and the dorms, my uniform shirt is sticking to my back. Built by giant blacksmiths, 2 fences that surrounded the whole island and separate the academic building from the dorms ensure that every Calder Academy student is powerless with a combination of magic dampening smells and paranormal technology. Eva and I like to call it the lack of honor system. And I'm subject to the same Dronican rules. Even if I didn't disagree with my mother on absolutely everything, I'd be angry with her for that alone. She grew up with magic. My aunts and uncles grew up with theirs. A special spell keeps them exempted from the dampening and lets the adults access their powers while on island. They even renew the spell every year, whenever it's weakened. But when it comes to my cousins and me, we can't be trusted to have access to ours. It's what makes Dance in the Dick's lecture so infuriating and unfair. I've never abused my powers, never lost control of my magic, never hurt anyone. How could I, when I never even for a second known what it's like to have magic? I'm in pain and annoyed as I head down to the buckled sidewalk that leads to the dorms. On either side of the path, hazardly placed live oak trees cast eerie shadows while the Spanish moss hanging from the branches rustles and chatters as it blows wildly in the wind. I speed up as I pass beneath them, their nefarious conversation sending chills down my spine until I could finally turn onto the long center mall that leads to senior cottages. Freshmen through juniors have to stay in a primary dorm, which was once the resort's main accommodations, while the seniors get the privilege of staying in the now run-down guest cottages. The little New Orleans-style bungalows have front porches, storm shutters, and gingerbreading. Though the pastel paint is now faded and peeling, Eva's and mine has 2 cracked windows and a family of mice in the pantry. But at least the air conditioning works, so we don't complain. It's part of the style to which we've become accustomed. Eva's not home yet, so I strip off my disgustingly sweaty uniform the second I hit the door before running for the shower. A quick soap and scrub of the Trinkler bites is all I have time for. The luxurious shower and my daydreams will have to wait for later. Then I towel off, throw my wet hair up in a bun, and grab my dress uniform from the basket of unfolded laundry at the bottom of my closet. 1 white button-down blouse and red plaid skirt for later, and I'm almost ready to go. I pull on socks, slide my feet into the black loafers my mother insists on, and grab my phone before making a mad dash back towards the admin building. Conclave starts in 5 minutes, and unfortunately, it's a 10-minute jog, so I lay on the speed. The one time I was late, I ended up with Trinkler duty until graduation. I definitely don't want to level up on the bigger monsters enclosure. I'm sweating profusely. Fuck humidity. And gasping for air by the time I make it to the conference room on the 4th floor of the admin building. But I got 10 seconds to spare, so I call it a win, at least until my phone rings as I slip into the room, and all 12 members of my extended family turns to stare at me in obvious disapproval. Alright, so that is the end of chapter 5. Now, this is the part where you can either skip ahead to the next episode or you could just listen in on me giving my opinions. So now, I know I said in the last episode that I was going to group 5 and 6 together. I made a mistake. It was supposed to be 6 and 7 together. So we just got chapter 5 by itself. And you know what? It's just going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but that's perfectly fine. In this chapter, it's great to see that they have cabins, at least for the seniors. At least makes it some type of individuality happening. And I'm wondering, is the spell like placed on everyone that's on the island, or is it specifically placed like as a barrier all on the island? I kind of wonder that. It didn't fully specify, but I'm just kind of picturing like a giant bubble surrounding the island and the school. And as soon as you leave, like, you can use your powers again. That's what I'm imagining. And this conclave meeting, I wonder what a conclave meeting is, but by the sounds of it, it seems like you definitely don't want to be late for it. I wonder if the thought has ever occurred to them, because Clementine's family bought it a long time ago. I wonder, have they ever thought about renovating it? Possibly moving the cottages closer or building new ones, building new dorms. Because by the sounds of it, these dorms, well, suck. Like, how can you let, broken windows, possibly others most likely would have broken doors, family of mice. How can you let students live in that? So I'm wondering, do they have, well, actually, no. It said in the earlier chapters that they don't really have too much funding. That's why they keep the monsters in there. That's probably it. They don't have the funding for it, They should get the Fae's parents to fund this. Try and get donations from the Fae, whatever Faes are. Some type of paranormal in this world. But they should get them, because it did talk about how they're filthy rich. Something I also don't understand is, so I understand Clementine is the daughter's is the headmistress's daughter. But now, why does she have to go to anger management? Like, I understand this is school for misfits and everything, but she does have a point. She never used her magic for bad or anything. She never got the chance to, but why does she have to go to anger management? I'm just imagining, like a dancing the dick, as they called him. Just to be like a huge, comically big nose, yelling at the students. I don't know. Kind of like a eggplant-shaped head. That's what I'm imagining. Anyways, I think that's it for this chapter. And I'm sorry, guys. I'll definitely group chapters 6 and 7 together. Those two. I created a YouTube channel. It's called Chris the Book Podcast. If you can subscribe to my channel or like my videos, give a comment, just do something. Oh, that was my little baby girl. Bye. But anyways, the channel's called Chris the Book Podcast. I also created a Twitter account too called Chris the Podcast. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Chris the Podcast, because I forgot to put the word book in there. And it was too late to change it. But oh well. Anyways, so I'll put the links into the description. You guys can just copy and paste and get into it. That would be great if you guys can share this with your friends and family. Retweet, like, subscribe. That would be amazing for me. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Anyways, toodaloo. Bye.